It looks like someone hires me to do a job.
Yeah.
I see a gap in their business, and I want to be the one to have creative direction over it.
Yeah.
So I bring it to the table and like, hey, what I say to them is, hey, I think that your business could thrive if you dedicated a little bit more care to this via the vehicle of someone who has experience in this,
Ooh.
you know? And here's
Yeah.
my whole pitch deck with all my visuals laid out so that you don't have to just digest what I'm physically saying to you. You can actually see what I'm talking about.
Sure.
And that generally lands because anyone who takes the time to think about another person's business and then map it out usually just gets handed a check,
Right.
like, wow, didn't even think that I had that problem and you've already solved it. And all I have to do now is pay.
Right. I feel like that's like a skill in and of itself at the beginning of that whole process is figuring out how to phrase things
Yeah.
in attractive and well adjusted or digestible ways rather.
Yeah.
Uh because the truth would be so much easier just to come out and say, "Oh, that doesn't work for X, Y, and Z reasons."
Right.
But you have to find this sort of like uh winning creative strategy to make somebody feel good even while giving them criticism.
Yeah.
Um, that's been like a a skill that has taken me a long time to kind of figure out.
Yeah.
How have you gone about like figuring that out, like that formula?
Um, I've been fired a couple times
Okay.
because I think I struggle because I just tell you what I think.
Right.
I'm the kind of artist creative who's just like, hey, I don't think this works,
Yeah.
which I prefer, right? Like, I don't want someone, my worst fear is to be surrounded by people who are always agreeing with me.
Right.
So I really value people who are like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. That's how I feel. I would rather just somebody be so brutally honest with me. Just if you're just totally honest
Yeah.
with how you feel about whatever it is we're trying to create together, that helps me because then I don't have to waste time trying to speculate about whether or not somebody thinks something is okay
Yeah.
or good, or if they're trying to hide that.
Yeah.
But you can't. I feel like that's just a different kind of brand of person. Maybe creative because you talk to the creatives,
Yeah.
and they also don't operate that way though.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of other creatives are just so sensitive that you still have to do the same kind of juggling dance with corporate and some other artists.
Yeah. You got to really pad them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard.
Because otherwise you've made an enemy for no reason.
Yeah. I agree with you on the art. The artist thing though is tricky too, because in theory,
Right.
you're all in this to make this idea the best.
Sure.
It took me a while, but at this point, I try to only work with people I genuinely like. So it's easy for me to invest myself in their business and like identify areas that we can grow in and offer my support.
Yeah.
Happy to play my own role, but hey, I also think that this could be a win for you.
Right.
And then I also try to bring the resources. So, like, hey, if you need a videographer or a director, I know a guy. We should start thinking about putting out short films. I think it would really help in the branding space. Here are 3 guys that I really like. I like their style. Come meet them. You don't have to look for the person.
So what does that look like in terms of your title? It's like what is your existence in general? What because that's a difficult thing to do
Yeah.
as a critic. Because a lot of times I think myself included, we're wearing a lot of different hats,
Yeah.
trying just to help this vision happen.
Yeah.
And by all means, sometimes you're taking on doing editing work, or you're a photographer today.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're directing. Sometimes it's graphic design. And I feel like maybe 30 years ago, if you were a creative director, it was more so just delegation
Yeah.
of responsibilities and just kind of creating the sort of the deck
Yeah.
Bible of what we believe,
Yeah.
which still happens at a super high level for the Fortune 500 companies.
Right.
But bringing it back to this conversation, like what exactly is what do you call yourself?
I hate the term creative. I think
Right.
that's like, like, what do you mean you're creative?
Yeah. I almost feel like when corporate or other members of Above the Line call somebody creative,
Uh-huh.
it's almost like those are the crazy people over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Put you in a little corner.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's those guys. That's creative. They don't know what they're talking about other than this moods and mood boys and stuff like
Yeah.
that. They don't know what the big boys are talking about
Over
behind the
here.
curtain over here.
Yeah. We can fire them first, so they sit in the corner.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at first, I don't know what to call myself, and I used to try to niche down, meaning like I wanted to have a title so that people could hire me for my title,
Right.
which obviously is the way that it works most of the time. But I've also found success in remaining flexible, right? Like some days I do shoot and that works great. Other days and primarily I do graphic design.
Yeah.
And that's generally my main source of income. But I don't think that you can exist today as a singular focused creative.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. My entire existence up to this point has been literally doing photography, videography, editing, um, in different contexts
Yeah.
too. So music videos, commercials, uh, music touring, shooting shows,
Yeah.
doing, I even when in college, I took graduation pictures.
Yeah.
So, because oddly enough, that was such a normal thing for me growing up.
Yeah.
But you get to forget to realize specialization was always the thing. So you went to school or you got a bunch of experience doing one thing.
Yeah.
Photography, that's a photographer.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you're a director? That's, you know what? I'll even break director, I'll put it on its own because the funny thing for that is nobody allows you to direct shit.
Yeah.
Nobody cares what your vision is to go tell everybody else what to do on a 50 person, 100-person set.
Yeah.
You have to go like mess around and make stuff and make yourself attractive to go and
Yeah.
make that a thing. But my point is, like you said, I think everybody kind of has to be multi hyphenated
Yeah.
or be a multi hyphenate to even survive now, which is kind of crazy. But
I agree, but how do you feel about this thought? You're a multi-hyphenate,
sure,
but you're not a multi-hyphenate thinker. You have a singular vision that you know how to execute through multiple technical abilities.
hmm,
Because that's how I think of myself. I have a taste as a graphic designer.
right,
Me being a graphic designer only means that I've mastered the Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, how to draw, how to move a pixel. But I don't like that's not the only way that I see my vision, right? Like I
mhm,
also have a particular taste when it comes to photography. I have a particular taste of how I would make a film.
right,
I don't have the technical ability to make a film, but I know what I would want it to look like,
sure,
right? And then I know what music I'm attracted to. I don't have the technical ability to make that, but I've allowed myself the freedom to learn enough technical ability in photography but I know how to build a vision now.
right,
And I have different modalities of how I execute that vision, but it's still me. And I think that there's something awesome about people who you have to pay not as a technical tool. I'm not an executor. I don't do well if you hire me to execute your vision. I do well if you hire me to collaborate and take some of my style and some of your style and we can make something new.
right.
But I don't ever want to be sat there just executing
Mm,
any style.
somebody else's,
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be something, but I don't think outside of the way that I view life.
right,
Because the way the things that I make is a reflection of the way that I see the world,
hmm,
right? And I think to be successful, I want you to come to me for the way that I look at the world.
yeah,
Otherwise, I'm a really small fish in a giant pond of like executors,
right,
and I'm never going to be as good as like Adrian, right? Like he's a way bigger fish in that way bigger ocean. But if I can be a really big fish in my own little pond of style,
yeah,
you got to come to me.
right.
And then I can set my rates.
I was just thinking that I think that's a really great way of putting it because I think great. I'm going to use the dirty word here. Great creatives.
Yeah, fuck that. I hate that.
I think what we have the best ability to do is take a magnifying glass into our own selves
Mm-hmm.
and understand how external stimulus makes us feel.
Yep.
And we do that so many times to where we figure out why things make them
Oh,
feel how they feel.
so we explore others through our own. I
In
love
in
that.
essence, but I guess what I'm saying is you're able to take things and say, "Oh, I see." Right. So your perspective is saying that you have a very unique way of seeing the world,
100%.
and that is the most proprietary thing that you have at your disposal,
Yeah.
which is like the magic ticket of, okay, whatever the hell came out of that LLM,
Yeah.
you know, I want a piece of that.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. But I guess what I'm saying is, as a companion to that, is that you're able to curate and figure out what your voice is to the T because you've like done the work of consuming things and then being introspective and figuring out, oh, this is why this makes me feel this way.
Yeah.
And this is why I can replicate this same feeling in my work to
Yeah.
make others feel it the same way.
Yeah.
That's like a hard thing to do, though,
Oh, yeah.
to go and replicate a feeling that you've observed.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people love art.
Yeah.
A lot of people can be great appreciators of art.
Yeah.
They know that a Prince song, when they hear Purple Rain,
Oh,
makes them feel a mountain of emotions,
yeah.
and they have favorites.
Yeah.
Now, and even that can extend towards taste into some degree. But then being able to really figure out, oh, Prince did X, Y, and Z things,
Yeah.
and that's how he created this overwhelming feeling in somebody else. And then you've curated your like list of things that are your Bible of like how I love and see
Yes.
the world.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then now you can go and say, I'm gonna take what he did here and then sprinkle that with Johnny Ives' perspective of like hardware,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna go make this new thing over here. And that's like a mega skill, you
I
know?
think at our best, all of us are architects.
Right.
I can look at I know like, okay, there's a foundation, there's a wood thing here. In Prince's song, I'm looking at what keys is he hitting,
Mhm.
the copywriting. How did he write those specific lyrics and how did he pair it with the sound when it hit?
Yeah.
Why did that word? Because it's always the language for me. I can listen to a great track of music that has no song, no words attached to it, and it
Right.
hits, but only for a certain amount of time. Meaning for me, it's the story that
Mhm.
it's attached to. Like you have
Yeah.
to pair the language and the audio in order for it to work. Some in there like, all right, well, I love this word. And not only did he say these things, but he actually mixed up the order of that. So I heard it in a new way. Totally agree with you.
I think that's cool that you have even just now we kind of created a delineation even from maybe how we both approach certain things when it
Yeah.
comes to music.
Yeah.
I think if you're more cerebral and intellectual when it comes to the writing,
Yeah.
I think I'm probably more on the primal side where I'm in love with the sonics.
Ooh.
So the low end married with some crazy high frequencies and creating this wall of sound. I
Yeah.
love contrast too. So when there's mad quiet
Yeah.
and then there's chaos
Yeah.
briefly right after that,
Ooh.
shortly right after that. I love those kind of ups and downs and the marriage of those things.
Yeah.
And I sometimes I love ambiguity when it comes to what somebody should feel when you make your art, which is a hard thing to convince a Fortune 500 company to tell you to tell like,
Yeah.
this is what we got to do, guys.
Yeah.
We got to make people feel, but they may not know what they're feeling.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
had that experience and it's interesting because I heard you talk about cadence
Mhm.
there with the sound. And I had this experience. I was in Mexico and I went through one of their natural history museums.
Yeah.
And I experienced the same cadence with the way that they colored and sized the rooms.
Right.
So one room would be huge ceilings, broad, vast, white, very expansive. But then you walk through a tiny door. Like they intentionally made the door very small. And then the next room,
Wow.
much smaller. So they compress
Yeah.
my senses. And it's a dark room. So I go from big to tight and then they open me back up.
That's cool.
So I'm aware of like the way that they've designed the space to make me feel
Right.
subconsciously the same way that you're talking about with music.
Maybe I tend to gravitate toward that pause and then excitement or craziness in terms of music or visuals or whatever. The juxtaposition or the comparison or the contrast between calmness and then chaos. Maybe because I think maybe most people experience that more often than usual, at least on a psychological level.
Yeah.
Because life is like that. There's
Yeah.
these extremes, and then there's moments of calm directly after. Um, I think I'm obsessed with that phenomenon. It's like everything in existence, according to at least 2005 schooling, with the Big Bang, is like this one moment of explosion
Yeah.
and millions of years
Yeah.
of just calm.
Yeah.
And then something just comes out of nowhere, and there's another explosion of life or whatever it is on planets
Yeah.
or supernovas. Uh, that gets me excited. So when I can do something that makes you feel that way, visually or sonically, it's fun. But
I'm interested in that in design too.
yeah,
The balance of order versus this like deconstructed, hand done, chaotic feeling,
right.
and trying to marry those two things so that you're never like here.
Yeah, well, because nobody wants to really
No
be
one
here.
everyone thinks they do, but no one ever wants to be here.
Yeah, because we love contrast. Everybody wants the opposite of what they have currently,
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
So it's all about contrast. I think with everything when it comes to you're working so much at your job and you're working for weeks and weeks and weeks. And now you just want to relax.
Yeah.
You just want to sit down. You want to go have a drink and go sit on the beach and just have leisure time.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of folks, at least for the people that that I'm surrounded by other creatives like yourself, after too much of that,
Yep.
you become sick of it.
Yep.
Here is too vanilla. Right in
Mhm.
the middle is too vanilla. Everybody wants to flavor and contrast and experience. So
I had that experience. I went to Hawaii recently,
yeah.
my missus, and I actually flew in the day before her and I like shut down like my laptop and everything. But the second that I woke up the next morning, she was still gone and had coffee with nothing to do. I was like, what can I work on?
Yeah.
Like what are my thoughts?
I I tend to schedule times like that.
Yeah.
Like if you get an Airbnb
Yeah.
somewhere, I always like to have just completed something
Yeah.
so that I can go edit while I'm like
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It's so counterintuitive,
It doesn't make sense.
but it gives me something to do
Yeah.
to get excited about. Because I'm just there, it feels like what is the point of this? Which
Yeah.
is so wrong, and it feels such like a horrendous thing to think and feel, especially when you're with somebody else.
Yeah.
And they're trying to just hang out and spend time,
Well,
and you're just like, oh man, this is cool and everything, but
I have all these ideas now. It's the
right.
second that I don't have to do anything, everything that I want comes to the surface.
Yeah.
Like all the ways that I'm feeling comes to the surface as soon as I have no deadlines, no deliverables. In that space, I'm like, fuck, I don't even want to look at a single piece of work.
Mhm.
The second all of that's gone, I'm like, great, now I want work.
Right.
And I oscillate. Like, not like this, but like this.
Yeah. It's volatile. It
Yeah.
can be volatile at least.
Yeah.
What's been one of your most exciting projects that you've worked on the way that's given you that like sense of accomplishment, but authentic accomplishment to where your inner self said, "Oh, okay, that my meanness, if you will, came out the way it was intended, and it really affected others the way I intended."
So that's a good question. I'm going to give you an odd answer. I think it's on my business right now.
Really?
Yeah. I do at the moment primarily client work. And my goal this year has been to build the client side and systematize it so that it's stable
Yeah.
because I'm like you, I freelance
Mhm.
some retainer stuff, but generally I freelance and I find myself spending too much time tending that garden. So my goal was, okay, I'm making work. I like it.
Mhm.
I like it from the standpoint that I'm being paid to be a graphic artist or a photographer or whatever.
Right.
And I love that. So step one, great, love what I do. Step two, the work that I'm making isn't necessarily the work that I want to make or want to be known for making.
Right.
I have the awareness to know in order to start, no one's going to pay me for that because I have a very specific vision for what I want that to be.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
I have this style that I want my studio to be known for.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those things where no one's going to buy it until everyone thinks it's sick.
Right.
So I am attempting to get my studio running in a nice way. So I now freelance out work to a couple designers.
Mhm.
I outsource them. I'm trying to put one of them on retainer. So I'm building the business so that my current clients are getting good work consistently.
Yeah.
So I can like sort of step back.
Focus on the important stuff.
Yeah, like and then
Yeah.
self-fund projects.
Mhm.
So this is odd, and I didn't get paid for this, and it isn't fully completed yet. But one of the things that I most loved is I went to Mexico for the World Cup,
Mhm.
and I bought this tiny little Leica,
Yeah.
and I took it into stadiums and took it into parties, and I kind of shot my
That's
experience both in the States and in Mexico.
yeah.
Tiny bars, on buses.
That's cool.
I want to do a piece of print that I can have as a coffee table book for when I'm, 60. Like, ah, shit, I watched this on 2 continents
Yeah.
that were close to home. I've never been. I've always wanted to go. My dad and I used to watch World Cup when I was a kid. I finally, I'm decent at shooting photos, so I was like, "Let me just buy this camera for the sole purpose of doing this."
Yeah.
I bought a sick one, tiny little guy that I could fit into stadiums, and I was just like, "I wanna just see I wanna go back and look at the photos and see how I felt,
Mm.
because I know how I feel in the moment, because I can be a little anxious, and I'm like, "Ah, where are we going? What are we doing?" Like, I'm distracted. But, now I've looked back at the photos like, "Damn, that was sick."
I think that's such a cool thing with photography because I'll have the same experience looking back at something a couple years later, and then it has a whole nother meaning almost
Yeah,
when you look at it and you
yeah,
observe and say, there's enough time for conscious. I mean, mind you, I'm guessing you watch these pictures, you looked at them up maybe a few days or weeks afterwards.
yeah, yeah,
But then, like as you said, coffee table book a few years later,
yeah,
you're looking back and saying that was a cool part of my life,
yeah.
and that was a moment that was interesting and also has context of who I was, what I was going through, who I was around.
Exactly.
Stuff like that is really amazing.
And the photo is also a representation of because I shot what I experienced, you know? I could have shot the same thing a bunch of different ways,
Mhm.
but I shot it, in a very particular way, and I, second to that, wanted to print a bunch of photos for the new house and fill the house
Right.
with my photos. So it was kinda like an endeavor where I wanted to print some stuff.
Yeah.
I wanted to make this piece of print, and then I wanted to curate my space. But something that I'm interested in working on is, like, I had this thought. Okay, fuck with me about this thought. I
Yeah.
had this thought yesterday. We live in a time where we have the freedom to do what we do, to do it from home, to be paid for doing it, and to express it however we want. That was not always the case with artists.
Mhm.
Back in the dark ages, you were told what to do.
Right.
And so I had the thought of like, if you have that freedom, what is it that you're going to do with that freedom? Do you do what everyone else does? Or do you use your freedom to enrich your life and express yourself through it? Because I want to make work that is, again, like I want it to be about how I feel.
Yeah.
And so if I have the freedom to do all of these things, to go to Mexico to shoot these photos, and I have the freedom to decorate my house and curate my space, I want all of my freedom to be a celebration of my experience. I don't want to just, yeah, okay, you had the freedom to be an artist and you went to an agency and you worked on a bunch of projects that everyone told you to work on and you
Right.
made a bunch of things that kind of fit in the vibe of everything else. That to me feels like a waste of the freedom.
I absolutely agree with that, man. I think that we do a disservice to the world when we only pimp out our skills for commercial gain.
Yeah.
Um, as a primary function of the art when we're
Yeah.
doing freelance or so on and so forth. It's imperative that you use the gifts or the skills to make things that not only enrich. It starts with yourself, like you
Yeah.
said. So curating your environment with memorabilia and it's causing this experience when you walk in a room and say you feel this aura almost of all the different experiences and situations you've been
Yeah.
through and for other people.
Yeah.
So that's why specialized personal projects or passion projects, those are so
Important.
important and
Yeah.
meaningful because oftentimes the commercial stuff
Yeah.
is capitalizing off of the passion projects
Yeah.
because large companies, they just want to pimp out the feeling that they were inspired by from the
Yeah.
passion project and somehow apply that and sprinkle it onto an ad that's selling soda,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
which they get only so close to trying to being able to achieve that
Yeah.
because it never is the exact thing.
No.
It's a watered down
Yep.
corporate version of the thing that somebody from the creative department said we should go try this thing over here that we saw on Vimeo or YouTube or Instagram
Yep.
last week.
Yep. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. The funny thing about it is, even if they go to the person that did the thing that inspired the situation, they'll go and try to remove half of that guy's or gal's whole vision
Yeah.
for what the thing should be.
Yeah.
So it's like, what was the point of even like referencing that
Yeah.
if you're not going to try to at least be integral or have the integrity, keep the integrity around that feeling
Yeah.
that you want to emulate,
Yeah. I agree. You can't take the skin off of something.
No.
You got to take the organs.
Because the viewers, the consumers and viewers of art and media, they're too smart. I think that's the downfall of commercial projects at the time
Yeah.
is because they keep just trying to keep the shell and take out the thing, that's the integral part of the inside. But
Yeah. They do that a lot. I don't know. You work with a ton of creatives. I'm sure that you've come across this. I've worked with a lot of creatives who just want to copy other creatives. I get briefs day in and day out of all of these references of other people's work. And I'm just like, okay, but like, why don't we try that our way?
right. It's like, oh, what happened to innovation? You did it when you made your product,
Yeah.
I'm guessing,
Yeah.
because it's a newer thing that's valuable to folks.
Yep.
You didn't just copy and paste something else.
Yep.
Why doesn't that follow intuitively when it comes to the creative to market the project?
Which is my, like, this, I can't wrap my head around this because all you need to do is express yourself. In the same way that when you made your first product, you were expressing your needs without copying anyone, for this campaign, tell me how you feel without the veneer of everyone else's shit on it.
Right.
Like, just be you, and let's make that sick, as opposed to you LARPing
Yeah.
as this other brand. Why are we doing that?
Right.
You have something that's far more valuable. And my God, people don't understand that.
Nope. Not at all.
Like, I would so much rather die as me than live as somebody else.
Absolutely. I agree with you, man. I agree with you.
Have I copied other people? 100%.
That's just part of the journey.
But that's how you learn.
Yeah.
But that's not where you're going.
No, that's not the end all. Whatever it is that exists already, it already exists.
Yeah.
So there's no point in trying to, you look at movies like the greats right now, like the Christopher Nolans and the Odyssey.
Yep.
Um,
Have you seen that yet?
yes, gorgeous. I saw it in just regular IMAX. I still like to go see it in proper 70 millimeter IMAX.
Okay. Sorry.
But it was beautiful, man.
Okay.
Great film. I hope to someday talk to Nolan and maybe I'll do an interview. We'll do like a podcast and he'll be the guy interviewing me or I'll be the guy interviewing him or when he's sick in like 5 to 10 years from now.
You'll see me screaming on the comments.
Absolutely. With great, amazing projects like I'll use filmmaking, for example, with The Odyssey and Christopher Nolan's amazing project. There's going to be a slew of film school kids or kids just with cameras
Yeah.
at 21 that are all saying, I want this to look like The Odyssey.
Yes.
It's got to look like that.
45-year-olds too, it turns out.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody. And that's the exact opposite way to look at it. You watch a movie or a great piece of art and you say, oh, I appreciate that for the creative challenges, or excuse me, the creative risks that were taken. And it's beautiful. It's awesome. And when you have to communicate an idea, if you have to go and ask for help from others for whatever reason it is, obviously you have to include a comparables slide to your PDF
100%.
because we're trying to make something in the vein of this, and this.
100%.
Fair. But when there already exists something that's great.
Yeah.
The point is not to try to go do the same thing again.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the same strings from Oppenheimer or whatever. Uh, that's fire. That's already dope.
Yeah.
I would just be cosplaying
Yeah.
that experience again
Yeah.
in a shittier way. I want to go find the thing that's dope for me. So I want to do weird synth and bass and odd instruments that are feeding into each other. That is innovation. You take a seed of something and you say, okay, this was such a beautiful father and son story about coming back home after being on a voyage. And above that, your plight in understanding that you made the decision to go ruin an entire civilization's code of ethics.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Okay, cool. We're telling that story. How do we go take that and go like do it the exact opposite way they did it?
Yeah. When John Doe is sat watching the Odyssey, and he's feeling inspired to make something, what is the correct question to ask yourself as you're having that experience? I think
Yeah.
the correct question, I'm looking at some gorgeous piece of art that Cy Twombly Sterling Ruby has done.
Right.
And I'm like, fuck, this is sick.
Yeah.
Not not that I want to make this, but the question I often ask myself is, what lane did their brain land in that led to, like, what was the starting point? And then what things needed to be overcome to land here? I want to know about the path.
Wow.
I'm not necessarily concerned. I am concerned because I will go up and look at it and touch and be like, okay, he used urethane and like he dyed it red. Like, I'm
Right.
interested in the process,
Yeah.
but I'm also interested in like the spark,
Yeah.
right? So I'm curious what you think. Like, you're sitting there looking at something that you want to reference or whatever. What is the question? What do you start with?
I love your perspective on that because now you're not only looking at the technical parts and aspects of the piece, but also the psychology behind the artist and how they arrived there to even be inspired to make it and what those kind of creative choices came from. I mean, I would like, now that I've heard this from you, I think that's my new question now that I would uh, pose myself. Usually when I'm consuming art as a fan, what happens for me is if something is so good, whether it's music or a movie, I usually consume it as a fan. And when I say as a fan
Love
first,
that.
I'm not a filmmaker anymore. I'm not an artist.
Yeah,
I'm just the person like having this experience.
I love that.
That's the best feeling.
Yeah,
That's how you know something is great because you're just on this ride.
yeah,
Usually when you're more technical and you're looking at things under the lens of an artist, of a craftsman,
yeah.
um, it's a different experience because you're almost injecting yourself into, I would have done this better or done this differently rather.
Fuck, that's so good.
And that's okay too for what it is. But to answer your question directly, when I'm just consuming art as a fan, when I have the privilege and the treat of just consuming as a fan, I just look at it and say, I want to create that feeling also.
Yeah,
That's my honest response. I look at that and I say, I want that.
yeah,
I want to be able to make others feel that way.
yeah,
I want to be able to have that skill
yep,
and then do it again over here
yep,
and be one of those people.
yep,
For vanity's sake, for better or for worse, that's what happens to me
yeah.
when I consume something that makes me really excited and stoked.
Bro, I'm so inspired by this idea that you consume as a fan first, because I get in my own way by putting the craftsman out. Like, I trot him out way too fast
Ah,
because I get that initial like, fuck,
yeah,
you know? But I don't sit with that long enough before I bring out the craftsman, the analyst who's like tinkering with the whys and the hows.
I don't think that's like a conscious thing on your part, though. I think art, if it's dope enough
Yeah,
and innovative enough, you just naturally don't go to the craftsman mindset.
yeah,
I think the craftsman mindset comes out when something is just trivial enough to where you can kind of look at it and say, oh, okay, that could have been this over here. This could have been different, or oh, the sound score could have been this way. Why did they include this over? But if you're not having those thoughts,
Yeah,
that's my gauge of how
yeah,
good something is really.
yeah, yeah.
Because then you're not ever thinking of, you know what, that last scene with you've watched the Odyssey?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
Okay, never mind.
I was just getting a pulse on you about whether I should see it when clearly yes.
Oh yeah, man. But you get the point though.
Yeah,
I think just it naturally happens when something just becomes trivial and then you're looking at how you can change it. But if you don't have that, that's the gauge of, well, this project is insane.
yeah. Yeah, I'm interested. I also think that stuff all of the things we're talking about and all of the things that as quote unquote creatives that we make,
Yeah.
it's a question and response with the world.
Mm.
You're starting on this movie journey as a director. That is a direct response to some stimulus in your life.
Right.
Like it's the great piece of art that I saw in Mexico was a response to the artist's life circumstances. So when I go to look at a lot of stuff, I often am like, man, I wonder what this is a response to,
Mm.
you know?
Wow.
Which I guess now that I'm thinking about it, is kind of why I asked you, like, where did the moving thing come from?
Yeah.
Like, what friction zone have you hit with your career and life and experience where you're like, now?
Yeah. No, wow, that's really that makes a lot of sense as a thought process to have when it comes to when you consume something or when you hear a creative say they're gonna embark on this project.
Yeah,
I um I think I'm obsessed also not just with the juxtaposition of calm versus chaos, but also with absurdity.
I love.
And I think those things are aligned
Yeah,
in a certain way.
yeah,
We're random beings on a rock. We think it's a rock. We think it's in the middle of a space. We have two legs and ears, and our eyes are in front of us.
it's absurd.
It could have been any other way than this. We get into pieces of metal with rubber on the bottom and say it's driving.
Yeah,
So my thing is, I like trying to showcase how insane things are
yeah,
when we're all walk around as a survival mechanism to
yeah,
just assume and just accept the way things are
yeah,
for survival, for practicality of I can't deal with this level of existentialism every day. I
yeah,
need to go to my job,
yeah,
come home and make food
yeah,
and take care of my family.
yeah, yeah,
But when you really peel back the layers, none of this makes any sense.
yeah.
So when an idea comes to me and it gives me that discussion, that
Yes,
internal discussion,
yes,
then I'm like, okay, full speed ahead. Because
yeah,
then I can go bother people almost
yeah, yeah,
psychologically
yeah,
and make them think about how insane the universe is
yeah. Love that.
to some degree or another.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you brought up driving because I think driving is one of the craziest things that has ever happened to us.
Right.
I'm always on the freeway being like, if I went back 300 years and gave everyone the cars and told them that this was a freeway and you drive 80 miles an hour in your lane this way,
Mhm.
do you know how much death and chaos would occur within the first hour?
Yeah.
But somehow we have conditioned ourselves to the point where I can text, drive, eat a sandwich, and drive 80 miles an hour down the 5 to
Yeah.
come to your house. And it's normal.
Insane. Yeah, it's I think one of the most dangerous activities you can do actually is driving a car.
It's crazy to me.
Like by metrics, by statistics. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Again, because we're all assuming it's just an acceptance of how things are.
Yeah.
Again, but when you make that assessment and you say, "Yo, that's actually nuts. This doesn't make any sense at all." And humans are crazy. Humans are ups and downs. They're volatile emotionally. We're not really great at policing ourselves
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah.
So when you have that crazy amount of emotions and things happening on the inside, why would you ever let somebody get in behind of the wheel of a crazy, strong, fast vehicle to cause you could cause havoc and destruction?
All it takes for you to realize that is there's always this guy on the freeway who's driving like a fucking nut,
Yeah.
and you're like, who gave you a license?
We'll let them do that.
And then you're like, wait, who gave any of you guys permission to do this? Because you're literally like yay far from my car driving a 1,000-pound vehicle at a speed which is definitely gonna fuck me up.
Yeah.
And I can see you not looking at the road. It's crazy to me, bro.
And that's the perfect metaphor for the world, man.
The 405.
Perfect metaphor for the world. What the heck are we doing here? Why is it this way?
Nuclear missiles. We won't even go there. But the fact that we have them and like someone has a button for it.
It's as easy as one of these motions. Yeah. And everybody goes.
You like turn a key and push this and everything's fucking over? How did we get there?
It's like pulling a cartridge out of the game while the TV's still on.
Bro.
Oh, whoops. Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about? We should be moving in the opposite direction of that.
Right.
Does no one see this?
And somehow as artists, we have to find a way to maneuver this and make it make sense for everyone else in ways that are digestible.
Or at least make fun of it openly.
At least make fun of it.
Yeah.